Simon, the last report filed by the staff mentioned struggling with something called a proxy. The proxy we killed was blind, just like Akers, but it listens. Careful, we spotted 2 more by the infirmary.
What do they look like?
Not sure. It seems to be human enough to pass for a crew member at a distance. Tall, dark, and ultimately faceless seems to be what to look out for.
I'll keep my eyes open.
Alright everyone, welcome back to SOMA. Catherine started talking about that literally the second I hit the record button, so I guess that's a good way to start out the episode. Basically telling us what kind of monsters we're going to be looking out for once we enter a danger zone area, but for now we're still safe. Last time we went into Catherine's lab where she was doing the brain scans, and we learned of how our scan, all the way from Toronto in the year 2015, got down here, 100 years later, and Simon was able to get a bit of closure for himself, which is nice. So let's head into the lab now. This is Catherine's lab.
Welcome to my place. When I started the art project, I pretty much lived in this lab.
Cozy.
And there's a couple things that we can look at in here. Again, most of the things that we can do in here are not really accessible to us until after we turn the power back on. So we're going to do some backtracking for that. But I'm going to do a bit of story stuff first. You'll want to open up this simulation assets panel, and you'll want to take this ship. And again, you can do this now or you can do this later. I'm just gathering the materials as I go along. If you come into this room here...
This is where I would store the ARC scans.
Are they similar to my legacy file?
No, yours is flatter, if that makes sense, less dynamic.
Thanks. That makes me feel much better.
And you can cycle around and you can see, like Catherine said, this is where she stored the ARC scans. And if you look around, you can see she actually managed to store quite a few people inside of the ARC, really. And what you're looking for is a solitary, workable disk, essentially.
An intact memory chip. If we're lucky, we might be able to extract the
And that location is totally random, by the way. I usually find the scan on this rotating piece here, but I guess because I looked at this side first, it appeared on that side. So yeah, just keep going through these until you find that piece. And Simon will just tuck that into his pocket for use later. And we're going to hook it up to this machine once we get the power back up and running. So let's go and do that. Let's get the power back up and running. And as I mentioned before, you can do the power first if you don't want to backtrack like I'm doing now. But I feel like if we did the power room first, we wouldn't have got the dialogue about the proxies, and it sets a kind of a nice pace.
The legacy scan of me that was on the computer. What did you use it for?
It's a template that has an intelligence pathwork already etched into the base. So if I wanted to build an AI, I wouldn't have to reinvent a whole model. I would be able to focus on the things that the AI is to be used for.
Is every AI self-aware? Do they also think they're Simon?
What? No, Simon, don't worry. It's not like we just put people into robots and machinery and let them roam free. That'd be really cruel. It doesn't work like that. Or at least it didn't used to work like that. Truly sentient machines, thinking they are people, is definitely new.
But you kept them sentient for the Ark.
Yes, and I basically had to invent the method.
So that's interesting. So Simon is sort of one of a kind. Catherine is saying that robots aren't really sentient, even 100 years into the future from where Simon came from. So even the robots that we encountered earlier, the mockingbirds, I don't really know how sentient they are, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously somewhat sentient, since Carl believed he was human and Robin believed she was in the Ark, but interesting that Catherine had to almost make the people sentient. So when you're ready, you're going to come down into the basement, and this is a danger area, so be careful. Before you open up these doors, keep in mind that these monsters are blind. I think that Catherine mentioned that at the beginning of the video. So if you have your flashlight on, keep it on, it's fine, they won't see it, but they will hear you turning the flashlight on and off, so it's best to kind of make up your mind about whether you want it on or off before you actually start opening up these doors. And I think we're going to want to go into the left door. I don't think there's anything in this room. I think this is just a server room. With a still breathing person who has been hooked up to the WoW. Now, I think this is the first time we're actually seeing this. I think in other sites we've seen people, but they've been dead, like definitely dead. But as we go on, we're going to be seeing this going on, where you'll find crew members who are being kept alive by the WoW. I think the only other person we had seen previously was Amy. But Amy still had some sort of humanity about her. I really don't know if these people are brain dead or dead, like completely, and they've been brought back to life by the WoW, or whether like their basic life supports are being kept alive by the WoW. But essentially the WoW will keep things alive if it has to, which is pretty fucked up. And it always creeps me the hell out when I see this. It's just wrong. It's just not right, you know? We can have a look at this screen here if we want to. But it's not really anything interesting. It's basically just telling us how the building is faring with the WoW's help. So yeah, you don't have to come in here. I just couldn't remember if we did have to go in there, but no, we don't. The only door we have to go into is this room on the left. So because these things are blind, they can't see you, but they will hear you. So you want to stay low, stay quiet, and if you see something to throw, you know, you can throw it and divert the monster away from you if you want to. And then, of course, remembering that as you get closer to the monster, you're going to get that static on your screen. And you're basically just going to want to keep moving forward. You'll hear the monster. You can kind of hear him in the background, kind of wheezing a little bit. But we need to get to the back of this room. So as long as you stay low and you stay quiet, the proxy shouldn't be that much of an issue for you. But like I said, you can throw items around if you need to. Make up your mind about your flashlight before you come in here. So if you want it on, keep it on. Don't bother switching it on or off. And if you want it off, keep it off. So there, proxy's there, hanging around. Now, because I'm in... Oh, I was going to say, because I'm in safe mode, he might actually just stay there, but... You can see there, I threw that. He doesn't like the noise, and he should come running to investigate. We might get a good look at him if he decides to come by this place. I feel like their pathing is very different in safe mode. I feel like because you technically don't have to worry about taking damage, the AI doesn't bother responding to your distractions, I guess. Because, you know, the game is like, well, you don't have to worry about getting killed. Why play like you have to worry about getting killed? But anyways, the server room is just back here. And you can get a good look at these things. They're pretty creepy looking. Pretty gross looking. They kind of just look like intestines, you know? Like, that's what I imagine, like, the inside of your stomach looks like. Oh, whoa, hey, I can get damaged? What? Excuse me? Really? Maybe it can damage me, but it can't kill me. Huh. That is very interesting. I didn't think I could take any damage in safe mode. Well, I assure you, if I wasn't playing in safe mode right now, I'd probably be dead, so... it's as safe as it's gonna be, basically. Anyways, we've had a good look at this guy. I think the proxies are basically humans that have been taken over by the WoW, so they used to be crew members. I think he's just gonna hang out there and not really bother me all that much, but we have to listen to him screaming while the mainframe here resets. So when you come back here, you're gonna wanna open up this box here, flip this switch. You have to wait around a few seconds for this to reset. And once it does, we have to then manually reset it. And once we've done that, we activate the mainframe and we can get the hell out of here. So you can just go ahead and run through. Back to where we came, and beware because these guys will follow you outside of this door. And they can actually go up the stairs, so if you're wanting to just make a quick break from those guys and you don't want them to chase you, you're safe at this point when you can climb up and get above them, because they can't climb after you. And that's all there is for danger at the moment. So once we're out of there, when we get out of the basement, we're all good. We can come back up here.
Good job, Simon.
This better have worked. I'm not going down there again.
And then if you needed, if you took some damage down there, you've got your little healing spot here, and you also have that healing spot inside of one of those rooms as well if you need it. So with the power turned back on, we're going to come into the lab here.
Go ahead, plug in that chip.
And if you haven't found the chips, then Catherine will ask you to find them. So you have to come in here and find the intact chip, and you'll also want to grab the simulation chip out of this box here. So which computer do I want to look at first? Let's have a look at this computer first.
There should be a list of people. See if there's anyone who could know.
So basically now we're looking for anyone that will be able to tell us the security code to get the Dunbat up and running. And we can also be a little bit nosy here because we can look up information about all of these different people. And we can also see Catherine's notes about each person. So Sarah was going to help out delivering the Ark. Mark killed himself because of continuity. Strawmeyer is really mad. Has Titan security. Ark project on hold. Brandon Wan, Delta refugee, construct wrangler. He's working for Strohmeyer now. Robin Bass, another fucking continuity suicide. Strohmeyer locked me out of my lab again. Maggie, we look so much alike in a different life. I'm sure we'd be best friends. Aw. Heather Wolchek. Again, a name we've heard a lot of, but someone that we never see in the entire game. She's one of the engineers. She helped me cut the wave leak from the helmet. If anything, it should make the post-scan hangover less severe. Peter Strasky. Helpful and funny as always. He seems like the resident, nice guy from what we've been able to tell from all these different audio logs and things like that. And then finally, Alice here said that she would help construct the Ark but not carry it to Phi. So the person that you're gonna want is Brandon, and the hint that he has security protocols is that he's working for Strohmeyer, because obviously Strohmeyer was the head of security, so he probably has an idea about the security protocols around here.
Very promising. I'll just load him up and get the simulator going.
Alright.
There we are.
What are we doing exactly?
We're gonna have a talk with Mr. Wan. Use the computer to activate the simulation.
So currently, we don't have everything we need to get the simulation up and running. So once you get the chip, the simulation assets chip out of this computer, you're going to want to go over to the scanning room, and you're going to want to insert it into... did I forget it? I think I forgot it, didn't I? I didn't grab it. Genius. Yep. Okay, you're going to want that first. You're going to want to grab that chip, and you're going to want to load it into here. And we're going to need one of the environments on this computer in order for the scan to work. And we're gonna want the scan room environment, and we can copy that to our chip. The float tank you can't use. The beach is already on the chip, as you can see here. We have the beach in the ski lodge, and the Versailles can't be used. So by default you have the beach and the ski lodge, but you're absolutely going to need the scan room in order for this next part to work. So once you've done that, feel free to grab your chip again and come back to your computer, load it back in, and try running the simulation with the scan room environment.
That wasn't so bad. This Stromar really got me worked up, bastard. What? Where did... Alice?
The scan is done. Are you feeling alright, Mr. Wan?
Sean? Where's Alice?
She's fine. We don't have much time, Mr. Wan. I need the new security cipher.
What? Why? Why would you need that? This is the trick.
No, it's okay, I promise.
I knew you couldn't be trusted. None of this is real. But you won't break me, WoW. You hear me? You won't break me!
Did we just bring that guy to life? I mean, he's a perfect scan, meant for the Ark. He's the real deal. And we turned him off. Took it all away again.
I really thought that was gonna work. Maybe we can try again.
Alright, so you can keep trying these in vain, but essentially we don't have everything that we need, and so if you keep running simulations and they keep failing, Catherine will tell you that we need to find out a little bit more on Brandon in order to figure out what's going to make him talk. And we can also look at this computer here before we do that, and we can have a look at the scan log. So Catherine started scanning on July 4th, so she started with herself, and it was only a couple days before Mark killed himself. Obviously she was able to continue a couple weeks later, and the suicides just continued. You can see here that there was actually kind of a suicide almost every week, pretty much. Every couple of days someone decided to take their own life. And after Robin's suicide, he basically said one more death and we're pulling the plug on the whole thing. Catherine managed to scan a few more people, but then after the next suicide, about a week later, it was all put on hold. So you can see here that she did manage to get quite a few people scanned. Obviously not the entirety of Pathos 2. It's unfortunate she probably didn't get around to scanning everybody. But probably everybody at Theta at the very least. And it's a good list of people she managed to scan in. And then if we have a look at the schedule, you can see that these were the people that she was going to scan, but she never got around to, which is really unfortunate. We can see that Strohmeyer never got his scan done, so he's not making it onto the Ark. Jane Addams, that's the lady that was kind of the head at Epsilon. She's the AI voice that we first heard when we picked up the Omni tool. She didn't make it. And then the only other name on here that I recognize is Sean Evans, and he had died back at Delta when he was killed by Akers. And the other just incredibly depressing thing in my mind, one of the things that just makes me super sad, is that our buddy Carl isn't on here, and neither is Amy. So to me that's incredibly depressing. Like, those two were left behind when everyone else had evacuated. They were told to get the site up and running, to get the power up and running, and they were not able to evacuate. They were killed, and they're not getting on the Ark. Something about that is just really depressing, you know. It's like humanity is moving forward with this new life on the Ark, but some people get left behind. Which is too bad. Carl seemed like a good guy. I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse about killing Amy, to be honest. It doesn't feel good in any case.
Here we go, Brandon Wan's room. I'll just override the lock for you.
So, you're not worried that there are other Simons or Catherines running around out there?
Now I am. Geez, Simon, some thoughts are better left alone.
So if you've unsuccessfully done a bunch of tests on Brandon, you can come to his room, or if you just simply know where to go because you played the game before, then you can find your way down to Brandon's room. Catherine will unlock it for you, and we can have a look inside of his room to figure out what kinds of things are going to make him talk. We need to get that security cipher out of him.
I wonder what the real Simon would have thought if he knew about me.
What do you mean? You do know about yourself.
No, I mean the real Simon. The human Simon.
Going by your reactions, I'd say he'd be pretty upset.
I love all of this dialogue, but you guys need to stop talking so I can end off the episode. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.